Do you sometimes ask yourself what makes people act towards you in certain ways? Why do they cut you off when you're speaking? Like what you have to say isn't important. Why do they seem to forget about you when you're in a group, treating you like you're not even there? And why do they remember everyone else but somehow overlook you? Why do they make fun of how sensitive you are, dismiss your struggles, or criticize your decisions? Even worse, why do some people use you for what you can give them and then vanish once they've gotten what they wanted, like you were just something convenient to have around? Perhaps you recognize yourself as someone who's always there for others, someone who agrees to things even when you're completely worn out, someone who keeps quiet to avoid arguments, someone who's quick to forgive even when nobody has said they're sorry. And what comes back to you? People treating you poorly, acting like you don't matter, giving you the silent treatment. The most painful part of all this: deep inside, you know you're not getting the respect you deserve, but you can't figure out how to change things, so you just keep putting up with it. You keep trying to be patient, kind, and helpful, hoping that someday people will finally see how valuable you are. But that day seems to never arrive. Carl Jung once observed that the most frightening thing anyone can do is fully accept who they are. Maybe this explains why you haven't been able to break free from this pattern yet. Learning to respect yourself demands something that feels scary. You have to look honestly at yourself and acknowledge that you play a part in what's happening. As long as you keep dismissing your own needs and feelings, other people will keep doing the same thing. This isn't going to give you quick fixes or treat you like you're just a victim of circumstances. Instead, we're going to explore what's really causing this problem, and it's probably much nearer than you realize. If you're exhausted from being treated badly by friends, family, romantic partners, and people at work, it's important to understand what's behind this pattern. It's time to start managing your emotional world differently. We're going to use Jung's insights about the human mind to uncover why you put up with treatment that you shouldn't have to tolerate and how you can transform this situation permanently. Because until you stop going against your own interests, nobody is going to treat you with the dignity you deserve. Are you prepared to face truths you've been avoiding telling yourself? The world you experience isn't as random as it appears to be. Actually, it's a harsh mirror showing you what's happening inside your mind, and this is something most people don't have the bravery to confront. Do you believe people treat you poorly because they're mean, selfish, or heartless? That might be part of it. But what you probably don't want to acknowledge is that they're simply responding to how you present yourself, or more accurately, how you fail to present yourself properly. When you stay quiet while something unfair is happening to you, when you let people treat you as if you're worth less than others, you're sending a message. You're essentially saying, "This is how I view myself. This is the kind of treatment I'm willing to accept." Carl Jung taught that what happens around us reflects what's going on in our unconscious mind. All the negative things you experience, the mistreatment, the dismissal, the hurtful silences, are mostly symbolic representations of how you relate to the hidden parts of yourself. Until you understand your own value, you'll project an image that appears damaged, weak, and uncertain to everyone around you. And this is exactly the image they see, and they respond to it accordingly. The point isn't to make you feel guilty about this situation. The point is to help you wake up, because the source of the disrespect you experience from others might come from the unspoken agreements you've made with yourself over the years. Maybe you discovered as a child that being good meant keeping your mouth shut, that being liked required always giving in to others, that love meant surrendering your own needs. Now, as a grown person, these old programs are still running in your head, influencing every choice you make, every relationship you have, every time you swallow your words instead of speaking up. You've absorbed the idea that your value comes from other people's approval. This hidden belief affects everything you do. You position yourself as someone who matters less, not because you want to hurt yourself, but because it's become an automatic response. an unconscious, deeply ingrained habit. Until you bring this pattern into your awareness, nothing will change. You could move to different places, get new jobs, start new relationships, but the same dynamic will keep showing up because it exists inside you. Jung said that anything we don't make conscious will control our lives like fate. So until you examine how you really see yourself, you'll keep having experiences that make you feel invisible and unimportant. You don't draw into your life what you consciously want. You attract what you unconsciously believe you're worth, even when that belief is buried so deep you're not aware of it. But there is a solution. However, it begins at the most uncomfortable place possible. You'll need to stop looking for respect from other people and start creating it within yourself. This brings us to a question that most people never ask themselves, but it shapes everything about their emotional experience. Why are you still trying to prove to others that you have value? This is what we need to explore next. You've spent your entire life attempting to demonstrate that you're good enough, trying to be the perfect child, the perfect partner, the friend who never lets anyone down. You're constantly bending, adjusting, reshaping yourself to match what others expect from you. And what have you received in return? Brief moments of approval, sure, but never real respect, because people who live to make others happy will always be seen as someone who can be taken advantage of. There's a dangerous pattern that traps so many people, constantly seeking approval from others. One of psychology's greatest thinkers, Carl Jung, explained how we all create a public face to fit in with society. This social mask helps us get along with others, but it can become a problem when we forget there's a real person underneath it. When you lose touch with your true self, you turn into someone who makes everyone happy but earns no one's genuine respect. You become like a friendly ghost, always present and pleasant, but somehow invisible. Wanting others to like you is completely normal. It's built into human nature. The trouble starts when other people's opinions become the only way you measure your value. If someone says something nice, you feel great. If they criticize you, you fall apart. Your confidence becomes completely dependent on what others think. You work incredibly hard to be helpful, needed, and perfect because you secretly believe people will only value you if you never make mistakes. But here's the harsh reality. The harder you try to prove you're worthy, the more you signal that you don't actually believe it yourself. People who truly respect themselves don't beg for attention or do things just hoping to get love back. They know their own value, and that knowledge is enough. They don't sacrifice who they are to be noticed, and they don't erase themselves to be liked. They're not scared of disappointing others because they understand that sometimes living honestly means some people won't approve. Getting to this place means letting go of a belief many of us carry, that we have to earn respect from others. That's not true. What you actually need to do is rebuild the respect you've lost for yourself, maybe long ago, maybe you never had it to begin with. Once you respect yourself, other people's opinions stop feeling threatening. They become just information, not judgments about your worth. But making this change requires a decision, and that decision usually starts with something that sounds easy but feels terrifying when you're used to always pleasing people. Learning to say no. In what comes next, we'll explore this turning point when you begin drawing lines around what you will and won't accept. This is when you finally put yourself at the center of your own life, because self-respect starts right there. When you discover that saying no can be the kindest thing you do for yourself. You've been taught that being good means never disagreeing with anyone. You learned that love means giving up what you want. You heard that people who set limits are mean, distant, and uncaring. So whenever something upsets you, you keep quiet about it. When someone treats you badly, you don't speak up. When you get hurt, you forgive before the other person even realizes what they did wrong. You think you're being grown up, balanced, and caring. But really, you're erasing yourself bit by bit, day after day. You're slowly vanishing from your own life. Here's what happens. The world doesn't respect people who don't respect themselves. And respect isn't something you can ask for, beg for, or bargain for. Respect is something you establish. You don't need to be mean, angry, or vengeful about it. You just need to be steady, clear, and unwavering. This begins with that word you're probably scared to use, no. Saying no is your first real step toward respecting yourself. It tells everyone, including you, that you have boundaries that won't be crossed. It shows that your energy isn't free for anyone to take. It proves that your time matters and your happiness counts. But getting there means dealing with guilt, because it will definitely show up. Every time you say no to someone who's used to taking advantage of you, guilt will try to consume you. It will make you question whether you made the right choice. It will try to pull you back to that old place where you always gave in. Jung taught us about the journey of becoming your authentic self, a process that requires facing difficult truths. One of the first battles you'll face is with that version of yourself who learned to survive by agreeing to everything and everyone. You know that part of yourself that thinks making everyone else happy is the only way people will like you? The truth is, this kind of acceptance costs you everything that makes you who you are. It strips away your worth, your self-respect, and your true self. Want people to take you seriously? Then start turning down requests when you used to automatically agree. Stop doing things that make you feel suffocated. Pull back from people who leave you feeling empty. Skip events you only attend because you feel guilty saying no. Here's what will happen. The people who benefited most from your people-pleasing will get upset first. Your new boundaries will reveal how they were taking advantage of you, and while this realization stings for everyone involved, it's pain you need to go through. Here's the thing. Every time you turn someone down, you're choosing yourself instead. That choice to put yourself first is incredibly powerful. It's how you start taking back control of your life, how you find your voice again, how you begin living without needing everyone else's approval first. But there's something even deeper stopping you from standing up for yourself. It's hiding in the parts of your mind you don't want to examine, what psychologists call your shadow. All those pieces of yourself you've pushed down, denied, and tried to forget, but which still secretly run your life. Let's go deeper. We need to talk about how this hidden part of you keeps you stuck in submission and why you'll keep accepting unacceptable treatment until you face what you've been avoiding. Why do you put up with things that obviously harm you? Why do you stay friends with people who make you feel small, stick around in relationships that exhaust you, or hide who you really are just to fit in? Why do you let people cut you off mid-sentence, ignore you, pile too much on your plate, or mistreat you without fighting back? The answer isn't just about how you were raised, past hurts, or your current situation. The real answer is in your shadow. Carl Jung described the shadow as all the parts of yourself you've stuffed down: feelings, urges, personality traits, wants. Because someone taught you these things were bad, shameful, or wrong. The kid who got in trouble for saying no grew up always giving in. The one who was punished for getting mad learned to smile while crying inside. The one who was ignored when they needed help learned to disappear so they wouldn't be a bother. So, you built this nice, polite, agreeable version of yourself while burying all your strength, your healthy ability to fight back, your justified anger when someone wrongs you. But buried doesn't mean gone. Actually, it gets stronger when it's hidden away in the depths of who you are. Your shadow is still there, quietly alive. It's what stops you from standing up for yourself. It's the voice whispering, "better not," every time you want to take a stand. It's what freezes you when you want to say, "enough is enough." Think about it. How often have you wanted to speak up but stayed quiet instead? How many times have you swallowed your pride to keep a fake peace? How many times have you let someone cross your boundaries and then felt used, dirty, and small afterward? You tolerate what shouldn't be tolerated because you don't realize what you've lost inside yourself. You're scared to reconnect with parts of yourself you learned to despise. Your ability to be firm, your anger, your instinct to protect yourself. You still think that to be loved, you have to be passive, that to keep relationships, you have to erase yourself. But that's not true. It's just old programming running in the background of your mind like outdated software. Until you deal with this, you'll keep living the same story with different people. New friends, same feeling of being looked down on. New job, same sense of being used. New relationships, same wound of feeling invisible. Want a real example? Remember that time you did something huge for someone, secretly hoping they'd appreciate you for it? But instead of gratitude, you got either nothing or even more demands, and you said nothing, just stewed in your resentment, feeling taken advantage of. Or think about when someone disrespected you in front of others, maybe your boss, a friend, or your partner, and you bit your tongue telling yourself it wasn't worth the conflict. This kind of silence isn't wisdom, it's giving up disguised as being mature, and it comes straight from your shadow. Jung said that whatever you refuse to accept about yourself ends up controlling you. Your pushed down anger becomes passivity. Your buried strength becomes fear. Your silenced voice becomes anxiety. You become trapped by your own refusal to see yourself clearly. As long as you keep running from the difficult parts of yourself, you'll live at other people's mercy, hoping someone will eventually treat you the way you won't let yourself be treated. But there is a way forward, and it requires bravery. Bringing your shadow back into the light, reclaiming what you learned to suppress. Not to become mean or cold, but to finally be complete. That's exactly what we'll explore next, because before you can demand respect from others, you need to reclaim something far more important, your inner strength. And it lives exactly where you don't want to look. You can't force others to respect you. That's not how it works. Respect grows from within, built through your daily choices and behaviors. When you feel like people treat you as unimportant, the solution starts with how you see and treat yourself. This isn't some magical transformation that happens overnight. It requires steady, mindful effort and deliberate practice. Here are 5 approaches you can begin using right now to rebuild both self-respect and earn genuine regard from others. Pay attention to what makes you uncomfortable. When something bothers you, pause right there. Don't make excuses for what happened or rationalize the other person's behavior. Ask yourself, if I truly valued myself, how would I handle this situation? Maybe you need to walk away from the conversation, establish a clear limit, ignore that text, or say no to that request. Trust that inner voice. Your discomfort is actually trying to protect you. It's warning you that you're abandoning your own needs again. Stop over-explaining your decisions. You don't owe anyone a detailed essay every time you say no to something. When you provide excessive justification, you're basically announcing that you feel bad about your choice and aren't confident in your decision. Real self-respect comes from being direct and clear. Practice saying simple things like, "I'm not available," "That doesn't work for me," or "I'm not comfortable with that." Period. End of discussion. People who push for more explanation are already accustomed to ignoring your limits. Make yourself important in your own life. Take a look at how you spend your week. Where do you fit into your own schedule? How much time goes to taking care of yourself? If the answer is barely any, you're sending yourself a message that you don't matter. Block out time for activities that feed your mind, body, and soul. Don't think of this as selfish indulgence. Think of it as essential maintenance. Put yourself on the calendar, even if it's just 1 hour daily. This shift changes how you see yourself and how others see you too. Choose thoughtful responses over quick reactions. When someone treats you poorly, you might want to either blow up or shut down completely. Both responses hurt you in the long run. Instead, take a moment to breathe and then speak up calmly but firmly. Try saying things like, "I won't accept being spoken to that way," or that behavior isn't okay with me. Don't apologize for being upset, just communicate your boundaries clearly. When you stand up for yourself with dignity, you teach others to treat you the same way. Choose your company wisely. Look around at the people in your life. Do they build you up or drain your energy? Are you surrounded by folks who appreciate who you are, or do they only reach out when they want something from you? The respect you're seeking also depends on where you choose to spend your time and energy. Sometimes you need to quietly step back from certain relationships. The people who truly value you will notice your absence. Those who don't notice were never really paying attention to you anyway. These strategies aren't complicated, but they can feel challenging because of the emotional habits you've developed over time. Maybe you've learned to please everyone so they'll accept you, or to give in so people will like you, or to stay quiet to avoid conflict. Changing these patterns takes repetition, consistency, and patience with yourself. But here's what happens. As you start respecting yourself in small, everyday moments, it becomes much harder for others to disrespect you in bigger ways. There's one more crucial thing we need to address. Even after you begin treating yourself better, something can still drag you back into old habits. The fear of ending up alone. Depending on others for your emotional well-being becomes the final obstacle preventing you from living authentically. We need to talk about this next, because only people who don't need others' approval to know their worth truly command respect. Eventually, you have to stop pointing fingers at everyone else. Stop waiting for people to transform, to notice you, or to give you the respect you've never given yourself. The world isn't ignoring you on purpose. It's simply responding to how you present yourself. You want people to listen, but you keep silencing your own voice. You want to feel valued, but you settle for whatever scraps come your way. You want to be someone's priority, but you consistently put yourself at the bottom of every list. Then you ask yourself why nobody notices you. The truth is difficult but necessary. It's because you make yourself invisible. What the famous psychologist Carl Jung once observed still rings true today. The parts of ourselves we don't understand end up controlling our choices, and we mistake this for destiny or bad luck. When people treat you poorly, when your relationships keep causing pain, when you find yourself stuck in the same frustrating patterns over and over again, none of this happens by chance. These experiences mirror how you treat yourself on the inside. The way others behave towards you shifts only after you transform your inner world first. Here's something important to understand. Earning respect doesn't mean turning yourself into someone who's emotionally distant or uncaring. What it actually means is refusing to beg for affection by constantly giving in to what others want. It means walking away from situations where you can't be genuinely yourself. Most importantly, it means becoming comfortable with your own company. When you're truly complete as a person, spending time alone doesn't frighten you. And when solitude feels peaceful rather than scary, you can make real choices about who deserves space in your life. Without this foundation, what feels like love is often just emotional dependency wearing a disguise. Moving forward, whenever someone crosses a line you've drawn, you face a simple choice. You can remain quiet and allow the same old pattern to continue, or you can speak up and change your story's direction. Standing up for yourself doesn't require harshness or anger. It just requires honesty about who you are and what you need. Something remarkable happens when you start honoring yourself. Your entire presence shifts. The way you carry yourself changes. The look in your eyes becomes different. People pick up on this transformation without you saying a word. True respect grows from the inside out. Once you cultivate it within yourself, you won't need to demand it from others anymore. It simply becomes part of how people naturally respond to you.